I'll pick up the stream key for Facebook.
Strange. Ooh,
Hey,
we're back.
Still not on Facebook.
we're not going to be on Facebook. No, it's not going to work.
Okay.
Oh,
For some reason, we can't seem to get connected to Facebook. So I just told the people on Facebook to please join us over on.
YouTube. There you go.
Good to have a backup one.
It is.
Okay, sorry about that, folks. Just having a little bit of server difficulty, I guess, tonight.
Well, there's so much going on, with football and everything else.
That's probably what it is. It's probably the
Yeah,
Super Bowl.
everybody's just,
Probably the Super Bowl.
yeah, absolutely.
I never thought, and the solar storm. Yeah,
Yeah. There you go.
whatever it is. Okay, well, we'll start anyway. How's that?
No Starlink.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to our Sunday night offering of Astronomy Edutainment, the Sunday Night Astronomy Show. Everybody,
Hey.
wow. Hey, Mr. Chris Kerwin. I'm the creator of the social media channels known as Astronomy by the Bay. I'm also an amateur astronomer and a member of the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada.
Hey.
Hey, I'd like to welcome back first my two regular co-hosts this evening, Mr. Paul Owen from the Moonshot Observatory in beautiful Hampton. Paul, good evening, sir.
Hello. Good evening.
And also Mr. Mike Powell from the PLF Observatory here in St. John. Mike.
Okay.
Hey. And we'd like to welcome all of you from YouTube land tonight because Facebook isn't up. So drop over that way for us. Hey, things happen. Okay, so
I
anyway.
thought Mark Zuckerberg wasn't going to fact check.
Yeah, it might be that too.
Yeah.
Tonight's episode of the Sunday Night Astronomy Show. Well, constellations help us find our way around the night sky, and once a month we dedicate an episode to understanding their features, their mythology, and their place in the night sky. Tonight we focus on Eridanus, the river, one of the 48 constellations that was first identified by the Greek astronomer Ptolemy. Eridanus is the sixth largest constellation. It is also the second longest constellation in the night sky. And to learn more about it, we have invited back our local astronomy guru, Mr. Kurt Nason.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to YouTube.
To help us understand its history and placement in the night sky. All right. Also tonight, Bud will be back with another fine binocular target of the week. He better be. Paul will be delivering another interesting Rosanna's fun fact.
Indeed.
I will have a quick look at some upcoming events this week and also a reveal of your photo submissions. So with that, let's get started with tonight's program and a closer look at the constellation of Eridanus. And I'm going to see if I can fix this Facebook thing while we're still live. But
All right.
Kurt, I'm going to leave that up to you. I'm going to mute my audio. You're up, sir.
I'm not Europe, I'm in Canada. Giddy up there, giddy up.
Down a rolling river.
Eridanus.
Here we go. Eridanus.
Eridanus.
Eridanus the river. And of course, here it is here. We got just coming off the foot just by Rigel. That's the head of the river, and it's running all the way down. Well, about 2,500 years ago, this is where it was as seen from Greece, and that's where we see it as well. And there's a star right down here called Acamar, which means end of the river. And then about 400 or 500 years ago, when they started exploring down to the southern hemisphere, they realized that wasn't the end of the river. It goes all the way down here. The whole thing runs about roughly 55 degrees down. So it's the longest one north-south, by the way. So it comes down to Achernar, right here at the bottom. That also means end of the river. In fact, Acamar might have been called Achernar before they realized that it stretched down that way. So actually, Achernar is the ninth brightest star in the sky. And it's not too far away from the South Pole down there. It's certainly circumpolar in the south. And you look at something long and stretching down like that, cascade of winding stars like that, they can be either one of two things, a river or a snake. And they already had some long snakes there, especially Hydra, the female water snake. Well, that one used to run around the celestial equator. But they figured they'd make this one. Now, which river is it? Depends where you lived. In Egypt, it was the Nile. And Italy, the Po River. Other place in China, I believe, was the Yangtze, the Yellow River. So it depends where you lived and what the river was. And so it's got a few stars I can pick up for you, just show you. We'll see them later. But the alpha star here is Achernar. The beta star up in here is called Cursa. And this one in here is the gamma star. So these three, Achernar is certainly first magnitude. The other two are third magnitude. And all the other stars in there are dimmer than third magnitude. Right? Now, what mythology can come out of a river? Well, it's not so much coming out of the river. There are two stories where somebody got knocked into the river or thrown into the river. And I talked about one of them a year and a half ago or so when I talked a bit about Lyra and the story of Orpheus and the beautiful musician playing his harp. And he lost his wife and was very despondent and went down to Hades and rescued his wife by enamoring all the people down there. But he lost her again as he was coming out of Hades. And he couldn't get her back again, so he went around, traveling around, doing a musical blues tour and enchanting all the young ladies. And there's a group of young ladies he enchanted, but they wanted more than that, and he paid no attention to them, so they beat him up, ripped him up, threw him in the river. So that was one happy story about that. But there is another one, which has about the same ending. That one involves, maybe we go with some of the Roman names there. Helios, the sun god, and he had a consort in a mortal woman, Clymene, and they had a son, and his name was Phaethon, a common name for anybody that's following astronomy. And Phaethon, he knew some guy there, a friend of his, and this other guy, his father was Zeus or Jupiter in Roman mythology, and they were having some sort of dissing back and forth, and the Zeus's son was making fun of him for being the son of maybe a quite lesser god, and making him feel sort of unwanted. So when he went back home, Phaethon talked to his mother and said, "Am I really the son of Apollo or of Helios?" Same guy. And she said, "Yes, but really, there's no way we can prove that. The only way you can prove that is to go see him yourself." And so showed him the direction, which would be off to the east where the sun rises, and it'd be a long way off. So he's determined he wanted to do that so he could get his face back, to prove that he actually was the son of Helios. So we went on a long, long journey, through as far as India and beyond, went to the Orient where the sun comes up. and he could see this brilliant palace in the distance, very bright. And he went to there and he stood up in there, and there's beautiful wine and all this beautiful carving done by Hephaestus. It was he was actually the Roman one of Mercury. No, of never mind. He's a guy at the forge, and it was Vulcan. How could I forget that? We'll see Vulcan later. So Vulcan had done all this intricate work there on the palace, and he's quite amazed by that. And then the doors got opened up, and there he sees his father. His father recognized him and asked him why he's here. So he gave him the sob story about friends making fun of him and saying he really wasn't the son of Helios, and is there any proof he could give them? And Helios was proud of his son, and he said, "I can swear I'll give you anything you want." He said, take back and show them that you actually are my son. And he made an oath to Vulcan, which he would normally do. And the son said, "I want to drive the chariot across the sky." Well, that sort of took Helios back, and he tried to explain to Phaethon the problems with that, and tried to scare him out of it. He told him about the four fiery steeds. So he named it for me. And he said, even Zeus himself can't handle these. It was only Apollo that handled those four steeds that are taking the sun chariot across the sky. He said, and while you're doing that, it gets scary when you got so high looking down on the earth. He said, I get scared with that one. And there are a lot of creatures up there in the sky, and they're driving through the zodiac. He said, you got this, have to go through the horns of a bull that's always trying to knock you off there. He said, you've got the scorpion up there, it's going to try to sting you. So there's a very, very dangerous job. And the horses themselves, if you have to keep a really strong grip on the reins, otherwise they know that it's not me on there, and they'll just take off on you. Well, the kid was adamant. He was going to do that. He said, well, try to keep on the path. He said, if you get a little bit too far to the right, you'll see the bears up in there. They're not used to having the heat. And the dragon in that area, it might make him mad. He said, if you get up too high, then you're getting maybe scorching heaven and getting the gods angry. If you get down too low, he said, you'd be scorching the earth and causing great havoc there. But he was going to do it. So he get on and he gets started off riding up in the chariot there, driving the horses, and the horses knew right away that it wasn't Helios riding them because there's really no strength on the reins like that. So went flying up, and things were okay for a little bit, but then they started moving around a bit and being free, taking their freedom because this guy wasn't going to be steering them around. And once they get up to around Scorpius and along the ecliptic, he got really scared because there's a big monster ready to trying to sting him with that big stinger, and he dropped the reins, and then the steeds knew that, okay, we got a freedom here. So they started going everywhere. They went flying up, scorching the sky, which actually made the Milky Way across the sky. That's where that came from. They were flying off to the north and making the bears are very thirsty, and they try to get down to get a drink of water, but they can't actually reach that. The Draco, the dragon, was trying to blow fire at them to get them away. And then they came down close to the earth and come around there, went through Africa, up through Ethiopia, and scorched all the land through northern Africa, which made the Sahara Desert. And it got so hot down in the Ethiopia area, it brought the blood of people right up to their skin. And that's where they got the darker skin, apparently. And in some places went down, it got so hot that a lot of the large cities were catching on fire. Just great havoc going on there. And Jupiter got the gods together and trying to figure out, how can we stop this before the entire Earth is destroyed? And nobody had any idea, so Zeus had to rely on, or Jupiter had to rely on his thunderbolts. So he took great aim and shot one down, and he knocked Phaethon off. And Phaethon came down, plunged into this river underneath, and that was the Eridanus. And so he landed in there and drowned. And I think his mother eventually came over to find out where he was, and couldn't find him at all, and she got very, very sad. So that's one of the main stories of how things get up there, or how that river got up there. importance of it. All right, wasn't a happy one either. But it does tell us where the Milky Way came from and why there's some big deserts in that area. And eventually, I guess the Earth got better. All right, other places seen it as different. In Arab countries, a few thousand years ago, they saw these as ostriches. And there's two, a male and a female ostrich. They have two baby ostriches, and up in here, they have some eggs. We'll visit these couple of stars in here. But a lot of the stars up in this area here and throughout here, the proper names of those stars refer to the ostriches. Right? Mentioned the two up in here. We'll see them, Bayed and Kayed. Bayed is that means eggs, and the Kayed means eggshells. So a lot of that deals with a lot of the names in astronomy come from Arabic countries. So these ones were made years ago and it's stuck. Right, there are really no asterisms in there, but there are two old constellations, which maybe call them asterisms. One here, Solitarium Georgianum. This was at a time in the, particularly after people had been down south and coming back with new constellations, you had several astronomers were making their own star maps and filling in the little holes here and there in the sky, maybe trying to make a name for themselves. And Maximilian Hell, he was at the Vienna Observatory. He tried to fill some in there. So he came up with Solvery, which is a small harp. And he named it for King George III of Britain, who was the sponsor of William Herschel. And he did give Herschel a salary. And maybe Hell was looking to get something like that as well, but I don't think he ever did. And so it's in here, just there you can see the hooves of Taurus in here in the upper part of Eridanus in this area. So he just sort of tucked a little harp in there like that. And Bode had picked it up in his star maps that he did in the early 19th century, around 1801 or so. And it wound up in other ones like Jameson had it in his Star Atlas. And it stuck around and started about the around 1850s, it started dropping off of most of them. And by the end of that century, it was no longer in use in any of those. So one of these old constellations just come and go. There was another one around then as well. This was introduced in 1688 by Godfrey Kirch, and possibly to honor Frederick I, the Duke of Prussia. And there were some other ones up there that were honoring him, or possibly to honor his Brandenburg, which is where he was from. And like the other one there, it was right in here. It's just the scepter or the scepter that the royalty would hold. And that one didn't last beyond the 20th century either. Late 1800s, they dropped out. All right, so we've got those two. Now I'll visit a few of the stars here. So Achernar, it's mentioned as a ninth brightest star in the sky, and it's a magnitude of 0.45, which is pretty bright. And I think every now and then Betelgeuse might get bright enough to just beat it out a bit. And it's 139 light years away, and it's a large one, about 6 times the mass of the sun. And again, that's the one right down at the bottom of the constellation, in the deep south. Now, Beta Eridanus Cursa, that's just off, just not too far from Rigel, a bit to the west of that. And that's called the footstool of the central one, or footstool of the giant being Orion. And there was a constellation or an asterism just in that area that made a footstool. So Cursa was part of that. Magnitude 2.78, so it's third magnitude, about 90 light years away and about twice the mass of the sun. And the third one, Gamma Eridani, it's called Zorok, and means boat. And well, I guess maybe it's a boat on the river. And they mentioned about some other stars associated with boat, but they were much farther down near the constellation, the new constellation of Phoenix. Well, we'll visit this one here. It might be kind of neat. 40 Eridani, or also called Omicron 2. So that's K, and Omicron 1 is 38 Eridani. That's Omicron 1. So it's bad with the eggs and K the egg shells. So K 4.43 magnitude, still naked eye, about 16 light years away, which if it got any farther away, then it'd be a lot dimmer. But that one's a triple star. And so here's the A part. Here's B and C here. They're all part of that 3-star system. So A, in the Star Trek world, that was one where Vulcan was orbiting. So that's Vulcan's home star. And the B one would be the white one in here. It's a white dwarf, and it's probably the easiest white dwarf to observe. So if you've never seen one before, like me, this might be the easiest one to get. So there are a few of the stars that are in there. And here's where they have K right in here. So you're coming up along here. You can pick out those 2 stars. They're both naked eye. And the lower one is K. So to get that in that telescope at fairly high magnification, you might pick up the other 2. And you look at the 2 close ones there, and the one that has more white color to it would be the white dwarf. And it comes all the way down here, and this is where Zorik is here, the gamma one in this area. And we'll be in this range here shortly looking for some of the deep sky objects. So some of the ones that come in later and stay as constellations, you got 4 the Furnace down in here, and Calum the Chisel down in this area. And if we go deep south, we're going to have Phoenix, the bird, down just by a little bit above Achernar. We got a few of the deep sky objects. IC 1118. If you've done this one, Paul, this is the Witch Head Nebula. It's one of the more fascinating reflection nebulas that astrophotographers take pictures of.
Yeah, I've tried it a few times, but it's a hard one to get.
Yeah. Well, it's listed in the Observer's Handbook under the deep sky or the wide field ones by Chris Beckett.
Yeah, it's really big.
Yeah, about 3 degrees by 1 degree.
Yeah.
And so if you get a really, really dark sky and wide field binoculars or like wide field telescope, like an astroscan with maybe a 20 millimeter eyepiece in it, will give you about 3 degrees field of view. So that might be a good one to try with it. Reflection nebula, so really an O3 filter is not going to help at all. So the dark sky is the main thing in the wide field to pick the whole thing up. And it just, you can see it in here. When they get the pictures like that, you see Rigel on the right. So that one's actually flipped upside down. Usually put it in that orientation so you can actually see the witch's head. There's your nose and there's your chin. Your Marge Simpson updo there. You can see it up to around here. So there's Rigel, there's Cursa, and here's your Telrad. So that makes a pretty good triangle there between those 2. So this is 2 degrees from Cursa, about 2 degrees from Rigel, puts you in around the nose. So it's one way to pick it out. But if you got a pair of binoculars, these all fit in the same field of view for like even 10 by 50. So if you got something even wider, maybe give you more dark sky around it, which would make this pop out a little bit better. All right, now NGC 1232, which is F21, 22, I guess. And I've seen this one when I went through the finest NGCs in 2006. And it's called the Eye of God. And it's a spiral, face-on spiral galaxy. And it's about magnitude 10, reasonably big, 7 by 6 arc minutes. And so it's not going to look like that in your telescope, but it's I could pick it out. Didn't see much detail in it because I was using my C8. I tried it for my backyard. I thought I got a hint of it, but I really wasn't good enough to say that I saw it. So a few days later, I went down to Prince of Wales, There's a much darker sky there. And I could definitely see it at that time, but I couldn't pick up much detail on it with my 8-inch. And it says the NGC 1300 is nearby. So here's 1300 up here, and this is where, and here's the 1232, the finest 21 here, I guess it is. All right, so it's in this area. So here's Orion, here's the start of the river, coming down here, right, past the Caid, make the big turn, come around here, dips in here a little bit, right above Fornex, which you're not likely to pick out. It's right in this area. Yeah. So it's worth a try. When I did it, of course, I did my C8, as I said, and I was using setting circles to get me in that area. And I could pick up the field stars in the finder scope, and I could finally get into it. And another one in Eridanus. It's a nice one. Planetary nebula, finest NGC 22. It's called, among other things, Cleopatra's Eye, or the Ghost of Neptune. And it's actually pretty neat and fairly easy to see. I got that in my backyard. And, well, I'm about a Bortle 6 here. So I look back in my logbook when I picked it up, and I say it was this bright core was surrounded by a dimmer shell. That's what I could see. It's bright core, and either that one, maybe this was a dimmer shell. Not sure if I picked that up or not. Or maybe I saw this and that was a dimmer shell around it. So if I can get it in my backyard with my 8, then it's a fairly easy one to pick up. But when I was down at Prince of Wales a few days later and saw the Eye of God there, I went to this one again, and it didn't look that much better. And I put in an O3 filter, and that didn't seem to help it either. So you can pick it up in many skies, but it didn't seem that a darker sky made it look any better for me. Right, and that's about it. Shorter than most, but we started late.
Ta-da.
See up there, isn't there?
For me?
There's lots to see up in and around Orion.
Yeah.
So much to see. It's unbelievable.
Busy part of the sky.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Okay. Mr. Bino Bud.
I know, Bob.
Bud de Binu.
I know I have a screen up here somewhere. There we are. All righty. Binocular target of the week. This week my Bino Bud should be up, Millet 111, also known as the Coma Cluster. You see that? Oh, I guess you do.
Yep.
And it's right in Coma Berenices, right in here at the top. There's a bunch of stars in a cluster, a beautiful little cluster. Actually, it's a big cluster, and not that hard to see. It's naked eye, actually. Anyway, the Coma Cluster, also known as Millet 111 or Colander 256, is a small nearby open cluster located in the constellation Coma Berenices. The cluster contains about 40 brighter stars between 5 and 10 magnitude. Brighter stars of the cluster make a distinctive V shape, which I haven't seen yet, but that's what they say, as seen when Coma Berenices is rising. The cluster used to represent, apparently, the tail of Leo. However, in 240 BC, Ptolemy III renamed it for the Egyptian queen Berenice's legendary sacrifice of hair for the goddess Aphrodite. But they said at one time it used to be the tail of Leo. Now, how do I find it in the sky? Well, if you went out tonight, it is nice and clear, but the moon's quite bright. Orient yourself 90 degrees east at 2300. Look up, and you'll see Leo on the rise. And if you take the star here and the star here and draw a straight line, you go right over, and it's going to drop you directly on Millet 111, the Coma Cluster. And here it is. Leo, come over, the Coma Berenices, and it's right up there at the top. What will it look like? Well, it will look something like this, only it won't be as beautiful and bright as the photograph will, but there's a lot of stars in there, and it's a nice cluster, big open thing, and real easy to see in a pair of binos. In fact, 10 by 50 binoculars, look at this thing. She spreads the whole field of view. So it's a large object, nice bright stars, easy to see. Compared to the full moon, not even close. It's going to take up the whole field of view in your 10 by 50 binoculars. Real nice sight, nice cluster. Like I said, in dark skies, you can actually, relatively dark skies, you can see it naked eye. So it'll be easy enough to find in binoculars. And are you ready for this one? This goes right back to our solar eclipse days. I tried looking at the solar eclipse using a colander. I ended up straining my eyes.
Oh.
Arr, 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 arr.
Oh.
Binocular target of the week by no bud.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man.
Okay.
Gosh.
What can I say?
Holy, holy, holy.
That's good. Straining my eyes.
Nice job. Thanks, Mike. All right, Paul, you're up, sir. Let's do
All right,
Rosanna's fun fact.
Follow that. All right, give me a second. I'll get things up.
Don't strain yourself.
Wow, wow.
All right, see if I can make this work. Maybe I can, maybe I can't. All right, here we go. And
Rosanna's Fun Fact.
hey, welcome back, Rosanna, for another wonderful week of Rosanna's Fun Fact. All right, can you see that on the screen? That floating thing there? All right, well, let's talk a little bit about that. This guy's hitting the news all the time anyway now, so I guess we might as well jump on board. So here we go. Rosanna writes, hi, Paul. Probably one of the best giggles I've had in the past of a couple of weeks was when this was sent to me on January the 2nd. The Minor Planet Center of the Harvard Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics in Cambridge, Massachusetts, announced the discovery of an unusual asteroid designated 2018 C941, first identified and submitted by a citizen scientist. The object's orbit was notable. It came less than 150,000 miles, or 240,000 kilometers, from the Earth, closer than the orbit of the Moon. That qualified it as a near-Earth object, one worth monitoring for its potential to someday slam into Earth. I know what you're thinking. What's so funny about a near-Earth object? Less than 17 hours later, the Minor Planet Center issued an editorial notice. It was deleting 2018 CN41 from its records because it turned out the object was not an asteroid. It was a car. To be precise, it was Elon Musk's Tesla Roadster mounted to a Falcon Heavy upper stage, which boosted into orbit around the sun on February 6, 2018. The car, which had been owned and driven by Musk, was the test payload for the Falcon Heavy's first flight. At the time, it received a great deal of notoriety as the first production car ever to be flung into space, complete with a suited-up mannequin in the driver's seat named Starman. Now, in the case of mistaken identity, was resolved swiftly in collaboration with professional and amateur astronomers, but some astronomers said it also emblematic of a growing issue, the lack of transparency from nations and companies operating craft in deep space beyond the orbits used for most satellites. While objects in lower Earth orbits are tracked by the U.S. Space Force, deeper space remains an unregulated frontier. Hold on, false alarm. It's just Elon's Tesla re-entering the atmosphere. I can imagine them seeing that. The space world never fails to supply the curious with new wonders, even here on Earth. So what is this? It's Mars on Earth. This barrel-shaped chamber is helping researchers to replicate weather patterns on the red planet. The dirty under-vacuum simulation test bed for icy environments, called Dusty, of all things, replicates atmospheric conditions on the planets. In this case, the carbon dioxide ice found in Mars' southern hemisphere. NASA scientists used the chamber to recreate smaller versions of the spider-like cracks in the planet terrain that were first discovered in 2003. Researchers have long suspected that the carbon dioxide ice helped to create these features. The Dusty experiments support this idea, suggesting the soil on Mars absorbs heat from the sun, causing the carbon dioxide ice above it to turn directly into gas. This process causes the ice to crack in characteristic spider patterns. And here's a picture of the result from Dusty, and this is the one that I'm showing you. The closer we get to Mars, the more amazing and unusual the planet becomes, perhaps beyond even the most imaginative thoughts of science fiction writers. The high-rise image shows different dark shapes and bright spots on sand dunes in Mars's North Pole region. The bright spots are where frozen CO2 sublimated into gas and erupted, spreading darker material on the surface. Some of Mars's CO2 geysers erupt and create dark spots as large as 1 kilometer across. They are fueled by considerable power and can erupt at speeds of up to 160 kilometers an hour. Earth H2O geysers erupt around 60 kilometers an hour. Like what Dusty Chamber attempted to recreate, this NASA Mars Renaissance Orbiter image acquired on May 13, 2018, near the end of winter at the South Pole of Mars, shows a carbon dioxide ice cap spouting spiders as the sun starts to warm the area in the Martian spring. I'm using the word warm, relatively speaking. The South Pole of Mars warms up to minus 150 to 130 degrees Celsius. Warm relatively, I guess. Here is another closer view of these beautiful geological features. The process that explains how the CO2 cycle creates these features is called the Kiefer model. Hugh Kiefer was the U.S. Geological Survey when he and his colleagues published a paper in 2006. They proposed that the seasonal ice cap forms excuse me, I gotta sneeze. Oh, probably usually comes in two. There we go. Yeah, so it comes in, they propose that the seasonal ice cap forms an impermeable translucent slab of CO2 ice that sublimates from the base, building up high-pressure gas beneath the slab. And here's a diagram of what they are kind of talking about there. Polar layer deposits, which is the bottom part you see there. This gas levitates the ice, which eventually ruptures, producing high-velocity CO2 vents that erupt sand-sized grains and jets to form the spots and erode the channels. So far as I know, until further discoveries prove otherwise, in our solar system, only Earth and Enceladus have some sort of geysers. I'll have to be content with my up-close encounters with the Icelandic geysers until perhaps 2035, when hopefully some up-close and personal views of Mars astronauts are returned to us here on Earth. Who knows? Maybe someday there will be tourists heading to Mars. Elon Musk seems to think so. And that's this week's Rosanna's Fun Facts.
Rosanna's Fun Fact.
Hey. Oh, what a fun fact.
Yeah.
There are spiders on Mars.
There you go.
Piggy.
But it's interesting with the geysers and all that kind of cool stuff. I don't think I've ever seen one live, But
Yeah.
isn't that what's in Yosemite?
Yeah.
They have geysers there?
Yeah. Old Faithful.
Old Faithful, yeah, there you go. That's a geyser, hey? Yeah.
We get geezers here.
He's an old geezer.
Yeah. There's 4 geezers right on here.
Poor geezer. Yeah, we're always spouting stuff off, aren't we?
Thank you, Rosanna, for another.
Thank you, Roseanne. It was
fun fact.
awesome, as usual.
As usual. Okay, let's get to a few photos then real quick. With me here. No, I think I've already got them open. Here somewhere. Here somewhere. There. Do.
I said copyright.
Okay, Animal's gonna send me a note.
Okay.
Oh, look at that.
Hey,
All right. First up, we got Mark Fitkin, our Bronte astronomer guy. Has sent me these ones in. Hey, Chris, he said, here's some more photos for the show. He's got the sun here. And then next up would be the Leo triplet.
Oh, there you go.
hey there.
Good, eh? Yeah,
It's also cool to see, isn't it?
that's a nice target. Yeah, love that one. Getting into that season now, too, with Leo popping up.
Oh yeah.
Or being in the right spot. M108 and M97 together. Yellow cluster and M108. I'm not
Sure.
sure. Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
Hey,
These are all in the double cluster.
Love it.
Yeah.
that never disappoints, does it?
No.
Oh,
And M35.
Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
Open cluster. These are all done with the C-Star S30.
Wow.
Well done, Mark.
That's wide field.
That's white.
So that's his M30. He's been waiting for, or S30 rather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what caused the last snowstorm.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on clear skies.
Yeah.
Looks like you got the other cluster that was farther away, just on the right-hand side there.
Here,
Yeah.
Yep. Little one. She's
You
tight.
see, yeah.
the vinyl bud target or
M35 is, I think.
okay. Awesome. Thanks, Mark.
Nice work.
Clayton Carr sent these ones in. Captured the nice crescent moon with Earthshine there the other night.
Yes, sir.
Also,
Nice
Yes, I got her shine. That's great.
just with brilliant Venus there beside it too. So
Yep.
Yes,
thanks for
sir.
those, Clayton. Thank you, sir.
Looks like you got Venus's moon there too.
It
Yeah.
does, yeah. Yeah.
It's a blue moon.
Okay. After that, we've got Brad. No, we haven't. We've got who's this
There's
one?
a storm a coming.
This is no, this is Mary Lou Perry. Yep. Moon Halo from last night.
Yep.
There's two of them.
Yeah.
There's two of those there.
One there and one there.
Yes, sir.
Well done, yeah. Of course, those are just an indication maybe that weather's changing, but what on to now? I'm on to Francois. Oh, I'm gonna be back some. Hang on a second. There's somebody else in here. Where did I put his picture?
Saw that one.
Nope, saw that one, yeah. Saw that one too. No, we're gonna go the other way. Okay, I'll bring him up. Francois Theriault,
Yes, sir.
M81. Francois says a grand design spiral galaxy in Ursa Major. It can be seen on a clear night with binoculars. However, you will need a minimum 8-inch diameter telescope to distinguish any of the structure. A very popular target amongst astrophotographers, along with the companion star M82, or companion galaxy, sorry. His telescope used was an Explorer Scientific 100 ED. Camera was a ZWO ASI 585C. Total of 4.5 hours of exposure time.
There you go.
Nicely done. I'm gonna be sure we got my other picture up here too. Hang on a second. Just bear with me. Where did that go? I haven't got this picture. Oh. I had a picture from Brad Perry, but I'll have to hang on to that one for next week, I guess.
Okay.
Can't quite get it right now. Okay, let's go from there to another one here from Francois. NGC 4656 and NGC 4657, the hockey stick galaxy.
That's cool.
Look at that now.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah, a particular shape of the complex comes from the interaction between two neighboring galaxies. Now, while NGC 4656 is the main part of one galaxy, NGC 4657 is an attached nebulous region that seems to be interacting with the whale galaxy NGC 4631, its nearest neighbor.
Different.
Interacting galaxies are amongst the galaxy alley from Ursa Major all the way to Virgo. and the same telescope with 4.5 hours of exposure time.
Well, I wonder if that hockey stick would help the Canadians at all.
Probably can't, probably couldn't hurt. Yeah. Thanks there.
Nice work, Francois.
Nice work, Francois.
Hmm.
And planetary imaging. He said, my first attempt at planetary imaging while Jupiter is high in the sky. I managed to capture its 4 brightest moons in the same frame and what looks like one of the moon's shadows on the planet.
Oh,
There.
nice capture either way.
Nice capture, though. Yeah.
Looks good.
Nice done, Francois.
Yeah, festoons and bands, and very nice.
Let me get this one up here. Bear with me. I'll make sure they're in order here. Okay, next up is Joey Creswell's capture.
Ah, the wizard.
When it's cloudy, it's time for playing around with old data. He said this is a re-edit of the Wizard Nebula in Hubble Palette from 2023. Got lost halfway through the editing, though, he says. Nicely done, though, Joey.
Beautiful.
So, Chris, can you pick out the wizard? I mean, I can, but can you? Can you pick out the wizard?
The Wizard? No,
You can't pick it out?
no.
You can, Kurt.
Wizard of it.
Seen it before. Looks a lot like the witch head.
It's
Yeah.
just-
If you look at the very top of it, Chris, right
Here?
there,
Yeah.
that's the top of the tall hat that a wizard would wear. Come
okay.
down just a little bit more.
Okay.
Right there. That's
Oh,
there's the 2 eyes.
yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Okay, now come down and curl out to that black. Yeah, right there. That's his hands outstretched. And
Okay.
and then if you look at the other side, come back to your left and down, and that's his other hand. And he's got his robe all around him, so his hands are
Yeah.
stretched out in the robe. And then you keep going down, then that's his feet. The 2 gold parts are his feet.
Yes, sir. Okay. I get it now.
I don't
Got
see a wizard, but I do see Super Chicken. Right where his eye and beak are.
Oh, I can't not see that now. Super Chicken the wizard. Anyway, yeah, it's once you see it, it's really, really cool because he's sitting in his throne or his whatever you call that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice shot.
Nice shot. Yeah.
very nice.
Let's see if that's here. It says, oh, that's disappointing. I haven't get Brad's picture. Okay, we'll get it for next week. Okay, thanks then, Joey, for that one, and Kathy Adams capture here. She says one of my absolute favorites, the Horsehead and the Flame Nebula,
Yep.
using a dwarf 30-second sub gains. 30-second subs gain 60 for about 2.5 hours, stacked in serial. She started processing there and finished up in Photoshop.
Oh, very nice.
Nice
Nice
job.
done. And I'm going to move on to Chris Benoit's capture of the sun.
There you go.
The sun, yeah, with the nicest sunspots there.
Activity coming around the corner.
Activity coming around the corner, and actually there is a call right now for a G1 minor storm happening right at the moment. So those of you who have dark skies, after the program, of course, but you might want to go out and see if you've got any sign of aurora happening.
Moon's up. Is it?
Moon, yeah, but yeah. I'm just going to try to see where the numbers are again here. Right now, we're seeing wind speed at 554, which is great. The BZ is negative at -2. The density is down around 1, but the BT is up around 7. So they're calling for KP5 right now in about an hour. So actually, it's KP5 right from 8 o'clock right through till morning, I guess, right through the afternoon. So the cloud cover looks like it's going to be low. So there might be an opportunity tonight to catch something near the horizon. Okay, we'll go from there quickly to where we'd like you to send your photos to this address, of course, astronomybythebay@gmail.com, and we'll be happy to put them up in our next broadcast as long as I don't miss them. And I'm going to move on from there to a couple of things that are happening through the week. This is our view tonight through 10 by 50 binoculars with Mars and the waxing gibbous moon together, less than a degree apart. So this is looking east-southeast tonight around 8 o'clock. So, oh,
That'd be nice.
something there.
Yeah.
Everybody back? Yeah, okay. All right, and go from there to this one, Wednesday, the 12th, the full snow moon.
We got the snow.
I got the snow. Wednesday
Yeah.
evening, look to the east-northeast at 5:57 p.m. Atlantic time to watch the rise, the full snow moon. 10 minutes after the sun sets in the west-southwest at 5:47. Our moon actually turns full at 9:53 in the morning. And it will appear full when it rises at 4:45 p.m. on Tuesday night as well. So it's going to be very close to full at that time.
Well, hopefully it'll be clear. It'll be a really nice, nice moon to get.
Yeah,
Ooh.
2 nights in a row.
Yeah.
And this one here, coming up to Valentine's Day. So finally, watch for Venus, the goddess of love, as it appears at its brightest on Valentine's Day this year. On that day, it will appear more than twice as bright as its dimmest moment of 2025, reaching a magnitude of minus 4.9. The brightest planet will appear, no, the brightest that the planet will appear until September of 2026. Now, it's only when we see Venus as a crescent that this world comes close enough to us to exhibit its greatest illuminated extent, at which time its daytime side covers the greatest area of sky. And that means that Venus is brighter around now than at any other time during its approximately 8-month reign in the evening sky. Venus's greatest illuminated extent or greatest brilliancy always happens about a month before and after Venus reaches inferior conjunction. Now, its next inferior conjunction, when it will move between us and the sun, it is on March the 22nd to 23rd of this year, and it'll reach its greatest brilliancy in the morning sky on April the 27th of 2025. That's all I got for this. So here's a view here. So here's where we are. Here's inferior conjunction. This is where we are right now. So the Venus is getting larger, but it's getting to be a smaller crescent as well. So watch for that on Valentine's Day, the goddess of love being at her most brilliant. Something to look forward to.
She's also in Pisces, which is actually Venus and Cupid.
There you go. Thanks, Kurt. Okay, we have this calendar that is put out by Lisa Fanning. Lisa has a page, Lisa's Look Up Astronomy and More. She puts this calendar up on her page, on her Facebook page, and you can download it from there. You can follow Ruby Moonbeams. Well, follow her too at Ruby Moonbeams on Instagram, Mastodon, Facebook, Reddit, and now on Blue Sky. And I have mentioned this a number of times that she does have a highlights download here for 2025, what to look up for in North America. So you can go to her page and download that as well. And that's about all we get to say for this.
Oh, what's this?
Sadly, the enthusiasm of the Dinosaur Astronomy Club was short-lived.
Those poor guys.
We're
And
good.
they did it by tadpoles.
Okay. Brad, Perry, I'll have to get your picture up next week on the show. For sure. Do you guys just want to talk amongst yourself for a sec so I can get our sign out thing going?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So Wednesday night will be the big moon rise
Yep.
and the sunrise. So if you're at a place like St. Tress Beach, you can enjoy the sunrise and just flip yourself right around and enjoy the moonrise, all
Exactly.
within a few minutes of each other.
Both rising at the same time?
Oh,
10 minutes apart.
would that be
Yeah.
a new
It was
moon?
smart.
Sunset. Sorry. Yeah, I think most people would figure that out, but
Okay, so that's our show for this evening. We're apologies for us being a little bit late on Facebook joining in. Just sometimes the server just doesn't want to, sometimes the server just does what it wants to do. So we're glad that we have two avenues at least. We have Facebook and YouTube. If you can't find us on Facebook, switch over to YouTube and vice versa. Okay, so next week's program, though, we've invited another special guest, one that many will know. Jen Hines is our Executive Director of the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada, RASC. And Jen has been an integral part of the Society for a number of years, and we're looking forward to having her on the program to discuss what RASC is up to lately.
There you go.
Special thanks goes out to Kurt joining us tonight. Kurt, thanks very much again. Appreciate it.
Welcome.
You get next month?
Sure.
Special thanks too goes out to Rosanna once again for another interesting fun facts. Thank you, Rosanna. Always interesting. And special thanks to all of you who share our program with your friends and family. We do appreciate that as well. Remember too, we do love getting your photos, so send them in to astronomybythebay@gmail.com, and we'll be happy to put them up on our next broadcast. Okay, so until next week, everybody, wishing all of you very clear skies, and get out tonight, maybe take a look and see if there is any aurora at the horizon. Conditions still look pretty favorable right now. And as we like to say, guys, open your eyes to view the skies and keep your scopes
Point it up.
Good night, everybody.